How do? I'm Mark from Morgan's Creations. You've just seen at the start of the video my build for Andy Mecha's CMC. So I thought I'd start this off by showing myself. Hello. Makes it a bit more personal. So yeah, let's get right into the build. So the first bit of the video, you get to see me tidying my desk. Exciting stuff. So here's a nice round piece of wood that I don't actually end up using, and a ping pong ball. So I moved the ping pong ball around for a bit, pretending that I was thinking, to trick you all into thinking that I actually have thoughts in my head. I don't. I knew that I wanted to use this skeleton jaw as a main feature of this build. So I set about finding a way to attach it to the ping pong ball without just glue. So I settled on drilling a hole through both items and threading some 1mm wire to attach them together. I actually had a bit of trouble trying to drill through the ping pong ball, but eventually I got there and decided to drill through the jaw as well. I then once again struggled to get the wire through, but eventually I got there and decided to secure it with a bit of super glue as well, just to make sure it wasn't going to go anywhere. So whilst I'm struggling in the background, I just thought I'd take the time to mention that I've opened up a Patreon. So if for whatever reason you want to support me in the channel, now you can. I'll leave the link in the description and I'll also put it on the screen, probably somewhere about there. So yeah, I should be just getting the wire through right now. So let's carry on. So with a final push, we eventually got through it all. And then I decided to just spin it around for a little bit. Then I had to break out the beads to make some nice little shoulder joints. And as usual, to attach these, I broke out the super glue, the only adhesive I seem to ever use. I got this in like a pack of 8 from the pound shop. And it's worked alright since. I've stuck my fingers together about maybe 300 times already. But even so, if it works, it works. Okay, so now it's time to show off the item I found on a supermarket car park. I haven't got a clue what it is, but I'm just showing you on screen now. This is what I cut it from. If any of you know what it is, let me know in the comments. I struggled for a while to find legs, but I remember in a stream with Andy we were talking about harvesting from old projects that were never finished. So I took these off a dinosaur that I was trying to build a while ago. As you can see, he's not got many joints, so I played around with him a little bit just to try and figure out how he would actually walk. And it turned out to be some kind of stomping motion. Hope you liked the sound effects that I added on there. Also in Andy's stream we also talked about different alternatives to baking powder, or as he calls it, bacon powder. So I tried out some sand that I'd got. It didn't work very well. It made a mess of my desk. But it got there, it worked a little bit. So now we're breaking out some wires to get some nice accessories on this bad boy. So here's another clip of me struggling to open stuff that should be easy. So I settled on some wires that I'd harvested from a printer. It's got a few strands to it. Decided to poke these into a few of the holes from whatever the hell that is. And I separated them into some of the other holes. It's a really bad way of describing it, but I haven't got a clue how else to describe it. I poked one of the wires on each side into the legs to make out that that's how they move, that's what powers them. I did the same on the other side of the robot and decided that it looked pretty good with that. I then attempted to make him look more badass by wrapping some jewellery chain around the legs, fixing that with some super glue. Didn't decide to add any sand or anything like that, just thought I'd let it dry itself, and it turned out quite sturdy. Okay, so there's going to be a bit of a jump because I lost the footage, so I started to paint it and I didn't really like how it was going, but I had decided on a verdigris on the jaw, so I mixed up some blue paint and some green paint to make obviously a mix of the two. There's no real way of describing that. Aqua maybe? And I started to stipple that onto the jaw. A lot of it would be covered up, but it would stick around in the recesses. Here I'm just adding a bit more blue because I felt like it was a little too green. So I added a few more spots of the blue just to add more patina, as they say. Age? Is that what that means? So here I've got some dwarven bronze. Started by adding that with a bit of kitchen roll by the looks of it, and that wasn't working out too well, to be honest, so I did eventually move on to a brush. Did that as more of a heavy dry brush, an overbrush, I think that's what they call it now, but that turned out a hell of a lot better. So I stuck with that technique for the rest of it. You won't see this in the video, but I also did this to the toes of the bot, because once again I lost the footage because I'm stupid. Here I am covering that paint job that I really didn't like. So I went for more of a matte black so that I could then add the skull, which I should be doing any second now. I painted that using skeleton bone from Nolzur's Magnificent Pigments, I think it's called. The D&D paint set anyway. So I did this freehand. I used a reference, but I don't think I followed it very well. But yeah, I worked in this in a fair few layers, kept deciding that the skull wasn't central, it was too small, and the paint was a bit patchy, so I just kept going over it. Did a little jump there because I forgot to press record, but I had started painting black, started defining the skull a bit more, adding the eye sockets. Here I'm pretending now, painting over the same bit again, adding in the teeth now. So this is pretty much where the recording ends, because once again I lost the footage. So let's take another look at the finished build.